Well, welcome everybody. I'm Jim Urban with Urban Companies Real Estate. I'm here with Erin Klein. She's a mortgage consultant, and we're here to talk to you about some key factors that are going on in the market right now. Sound good?
It sounds awesome. Really important because there's been a little bit of a change recently.
Yeah, in fact, let's start with that. Let's start with that. There's been a market shift we've noticed in the last couple of weeks, and it's kind of really across the nation
Mhm.
because I know of a lot of agents and lenders across the nation. I know you do as well. And we're kind of all hearing about this. And I love how you phrased it when we were talking about this call about an even playing field, right?
Right? Which is something we haven't been seeing in quite a while.
Yeah, like it must have been even pre-COVID,
Mhm.
because even after the rates went up, the market seemed to kind of pick up some steam again after the initial shock of the interest rates going up. And then we went into this spring in 2024 with robust multiple offers again on houses like crazy and low inventory, which kind of drove that too.
Right? And it
Yeah.
was more of a lopsided market. It was a seller's market, not so much a buyer's market.
And now it's not so much a lopsided market, it's more of an even playing field. It's more like buyers have much of a chance as sellers do. And it's kind of a breath of fresh air.
Very much so. And it's like you said, even playing field. And let's remember too that for our clients who are selling a house, a lot of times they are buying another house. And so when you already own a house, you're a buyer on one side, you're a seller on the other. You may be winning on one side. If it's a lopsided market, you're losing on the other side. And even playing field is really better for everyone.
It is. And the one example I have recently was a buyer that I was working with, and I was showing them houses in May, and we were competing with multiple offers. And all of a sudden, we got into June, and another house popped up, and they had a bunch of showings and stuff, but they had no offers.
Mhm.
And we wrote an offer and got our offer through. And my buyer was like, "We got our offer through." And it was like kind of so cool because now they have all this peace of mind. They're not competing with all of these different offers. Now, there might be certain hot listings that might still get multiple offers, but I would say for the most part, it's kind of like even the playing field all over in my town in Denver. I see it all over the place, even in hot neighborhoods. They've cooled off a little bit.
Yep, I have seen that also. My home base is Minneapolis, but I lend in all 48 contiguous states, and I've been seeing that with clients in other states as well.
You would know better than I do then, for sure. That's really cool. Well, so let's talk about like, okay, so if we get a buyer or if we get a seller, how is that going to be different now? So for example, like when we make an offer, before we were trying to come up with all these different strategies on how to get your offer through. But I know as a realtor, when I call the listing agent, let's say I have a buyer and I'm calling the listing agent and saying, how's things going? Are you getting any offers? Do you have any offers? And then of course I'll find out how long the house has been on the market. And so I might be coming in at full price as long as they're not overpriced, but we might even be coming in below list price.
Right. Well, and I think that's something a lot of people don't realize is price is not always the most important factor in getting an offer accepted. In fact, it's rarely the most important factor.
I've always told people that timing a lot of times is more important to people than money,
Mhm.
because if they can meet their timing, the dollars, we sometimes we assume that price or the net dollar that they get is the most important thing, but honestly, their ease of move and the flawlessness of all that is going to be more important, I think, to most people than the money.
Right. Well, and I think that it's very easy to think of a house as a commodity, but it isn't. It's an emotional transaction. It's where we live. It's our home base, and moving is really stressful. And so, if a buyer can make an offer that makes that less stressful for the seller, they have a better chance of getting their offer accepted.
Yeah, and everybody's trying to eliminate dreaded double move. The
Mhm.
dreaded double move is what I call it. And now there's some people that will it doesn't bother them, but I think 99% of people it does bother. And so honestly, people want to, they would love their dream is to go to back closings, right?
Mhm.
On the same day.
Yes.
Get those closings done. And then the possessions also back to back. They
Mhm.
move their stuff into one truck and they unload that truck right into their new home.
Right.
That's the dream.
Mhm.
That's the ultimate dream, right? So what we can do is it's going to be real critical now more than ever to try to meet the needs of the timing for both sides. And if you can do that, the price is going to be easy to work with. We're going to come together on price. If we have to do a short close or a long close or a medium close and then a post occupancy, well, those will still be part of our game as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think sometimes too, people have the misconception that whoever can close the fastest is the person whose offer is going to get accepted. But I see time and again where sellers need to find another house. They need a little bit of time to be able to find something. If you can work with them on that, it helps make the transaction come together.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to mention, like I think the last thing that I wanted to talk to you about today was one of the things that sometimes comes up when things kind of even out a little bit like this is that buyers think or sellers think I can uh, buy a home contingent upon my home selling. Now, sellers are still not going to be really excited about taking an offer contingent upon your house selling because, first of all, it might take a little longer to sell now. And so that's not going to be real exciting. But if I can shift the thinking of the client when I meet with a seller, for example, and I can say, hey, why don't we put your home on the market and just get it on the market, see how the market reacts to it, but make it contingent upon you finding suitable housing or replacement home.
Mhm.
And it's really genius if you think about it because it takes the fear off the table that they have to 100% make that move and not find the home of their dreams. Now, do you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I did when I sold my last house because I loved where I lived and I wasn't sure if I was going to find the right house at the exact time. So I asked my buyers to give me a window of time to find another house.
Yeah, so what I did, that's exactly what happens, is I listed this townhome for this couple and we made it contingent upon finding suitable housing within 3 weeks. So what we did is we put it on the market and we did find a buyer and their buyer was actually cash, which was cool.
Mhm.
And we told the buyer about this contingency. We had a nice little clause for our contract for it. And that buyer said, "Yeah, we love your townhome. We are going to give you all the opportunity in the world to find the home you want because we will be patient. We love your townhome. That's the
Mhm.
kind of buyer you want."
Right.
And we got it. So
Well, and that's the kind of cooperation that you can have in a balanced market is that you can have a buyer who says, I love the house enough and I'm willing to give you some leeway. And you can have a seller that says, I want to find a new house, but can you please work with me on the timing?
well, and what happened to it was is we had to extend. We went 3 weeks and they didn't find a house. So we asked for a 2 week extension. Well, within the 2 week extension, we found a house. And we were so excited to call our buyer, the agents for the buyer on our listing. We said, hey, we found a house. And they said, oh, we're so glad. We knew you would eventually. And so they're excited because now they're going to get the townhome. And now my people found the house of their dreams. And it was fortunately in this month of June, and we were the only offer. And so like in a tough lopsided market, they wouldn't have got it. So I think these contingencies, like what we're talking about, the replacement home contingency might become a popular contingency. Now, I got to tell you, a lot of realtors or clients don't even know about this.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
so that's why I'm talking about this right now, because those of you that are listening, pay attention to this video because what I'm talking about recently worked and it's going to work even better in this equalized market.
Mhm.
So that's my thoughts about,
Well, and it's great because, I think some of our sellers are own a home where they're sitting on a low interest rate and they're like, I don't want to move unless I find the perfect house because I know I'm going to be paying a little more in interest right now. And that gives them the freedom to be able to say, okay, I can go move forward securely in finding something I want to buy.
yeah, yeah. Well, and speaking of that, I've noticed that when I look at the values of homes and what's happened since the rates have gone up, they have leveled out, and in some cases, the values even dropped a little bit, which was I kind of expected that
Mhm.
because when the rates go up, they're really buying a payment. They're not really purchasing a price.
Right.
They're buying their payment,
Mhm.
and they got to be able to afford that monthly payment. So,
Right. Right.
yeah. Well, Erin, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I know that we've done a few of these videos now, and I sure appreciate it.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I love your sharing your expertise because you have so much knowledge and so much experience and about things that people just generally don't think about or don't understand.
yeah, and it takes the right lender like yourself to make all this stuff come together timing wise. We talk about how important timing is, and the lender plays a big part in that. And I know your company doesn't play around with that. Like if you have to get something done, you get it done.
Yep.
So,
I tell my clients, you know what? We will do whatever is feasibly legally possible to close as quickly as possible when it's needed. Um,
yeah.
and so we're never going to be an impediment to an offer getting accepted. We're going to bend over backwards to make sure that we can handle whatever's needed to be able to make that offer successful.
Well, and thankfully, we're not in the kind of market where we were several years ago where there wasn't enough appraisers and stuff like that.
Right.
Right now, appraisers can get out pretty quickly.
Hmm.
So that it's makes it like a really kind of a really the best market to buy and sell in right now for both sides.
Right. Very much
It's
so.
so fantastic. Well, thanks so much. If you guys have any comments, please feel free to comment on this post, and Erin or I or both of us would be happy to talk to you about it. So sure appreciate the time, Erin.
You as well. Thanks, Jim.
Have a wonderful day, and we'll do this another time.
That'd be great. Talk to you soon.
See you. Bye bye.